why does respect all builds only apply to cars?
It literally does not apply to even the simplest things.
Yeah.
Like you can't even go to McDonald's. If you came out and your hamburger patty was on top of the bun, you'd be like, well, you gave it your best effort. I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
No, but because you did it yourself and it's on a car, it's perfectly fine.
And just to be clear, we're not saying...
At least I'm trying.
We're not saying don't do things yourself. We're not saying, always give it to someone.
100% do things yourself, but
what happened to that?
Don't touch
GT1 Porsche.
Don't touch it, Elvis. This is one of my favorites.
I love the Porsche GT1. Like, I secretly want to... Have you seen those kits they make? Like, bolt onto a Porsche?
Boxster?
Yeah.
You can't... That's the biggest thing wrong with all kit cars.
What?
Is they do the craziest car on the shittiest car.
Yeah, that's true.
But
usually the case, right? Like the performance never ever matches what
The
it looks
appearance.
like. Yeah.
You can't
You're
put a
doing it a
GT1 on a
disservice.
Boxster.
I mean, you could.
People have.
That platform better be like so highly modified in the,
Yeah, you can just...
in the drivetrain to match.
You can just LS swap it. Easy peasy.
No,
Now.
you do not LS swap into a GT1 Porsche body kit. Do not do that.
I
Elvis
kind of
does.
would. Yeah.
See?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Welcome back to another episode.
Yeah.
On Modify with TrickFactory Customs. If this is your first time watching, my name is Elvis.
Tim?
I'm Rob.
And on this podcast, we talk about cars, offend people with opinions that we might or might not have about certain things in the car community or cars. And on this episode, we might also be offending more people too.
I don't know, man. I thought the last one was going to be...
True, yeah.
And it was the opposite.
Yeah, I thought the last one was people were gonna get mad, but if you don't know what we're talking about, the last episode we talked about what does it mean to be a car enthusiast, and as usual we had some, I think, interesting thoughts, but it didn't get as much traction.
Yeah, people all agreed with me. I was
I
like,
was like,
I was ready to go to war, man.
Yeah, I mean, usually that's what the normal, like, if you're not, like that's what you would want, is for people to agree, but I mean, we kind of like the banter of back and forth.
I'd like to either have my opinion changed or, I defend my opinion, but nothing this time.
Didn't work. Well, we're gonna try again.
We're going to try again.
And so,
Trying to encourage conversation.
yes, we are. That's exactly what we're doing. So we've talked about the topic respect. I'm tired of respecting all builds. And that episode, I think a lot of people had a lot of opinions about what exactly a build is. But now we're diving further into that topic, or going a little bit different. So we're talking about, why does respect all builds only apply to cars? We kind of talked about it in the previous episode, but I kind of chopped that part off because I was like, this would be such a good topic on its own. And so, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know why. We're still trying to figure it out.
I know. It is very
We're
interesting.
going to deep dive.
We're going to deep dive. In the 20th century now, you have to respect all builds. If not, you're automatically canceled.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's the nature
But what are you
of
being
our world
canceled
now.
from?
I know, true. We're going to talk about that and
we're
a
gonna talk
lot
about
more in this episode. And so with that said, we're just going to dive right in. So how was the week for us all?
It wasn't bad. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Sort of recalibrating after the SEMA crunch. That's the topic that never gets talked about, is the havoc and the cleanup post SEMA crunch.
That's a podcast in itself. We could just have like a SEMA recap.
Yeah.
I was
So
actually just listening to the Roaster Shop version of that.
I just
like,
saw a clip of that. It was
good
pretty
idea.
funny when what's his name almost got into an altercation with a gentleman for opening his door on the car at this SEMA show. He was opening it and looking in it, and I feel like this year, or even our G-Wagon, was also, people
Somebody
were sitting
sat
in
in
it. Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And of course, the
shit.
customer, he messages me right away, and I was like on my way to meet him there, and he's like, "Hey, is it normal for people to sit in the car?" I was like, "Oh no, no, that is not normal. I'm on my way."
Yeah.
But she was gone by the time I got there.
So even
Unreal.
yeah, you would think people, because we're all like, SEMA is an industry thing, but I guess people don't hold the same values as when it comes to respecting people's cars or cars that are not theirs. And so yeah, I listened to a little bit of the Roadster Shop podcast, and that was very interesting. But
And that blows my mind. I can't believe that actually happens. I haven't seen anybody sort of disrespect someone's property like that in a while at a
I'm
car
gonna
show.
assume it was a spouse.
yeah, I'm gonna assume yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and so when you're talking of post cleanup SEMA, what is that?
Well, basically, the SEMA crunch was all of us focused on a single project, but obviously we have multiple projects. So now that we're back, we got to get all that stuff re-going again. So
Yeah, and
scheduling, getting things caught up, getting things like, I don't know if every shop is like this, but when you leave SEMA or leave for SEMA, the shop generally looks like it had exploded.
And let's just set it straight. Like this year, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't. It
We've
wasn't
gotten a lot
actually
better
that
at
bad.
SEMA crunches.
But in previous years, building up to SEMA and doing all that, it's like literally like a storm goes through the shop. It takes days
To clean it back up.
to put it back to a functional state again. And like this year, it wasn't that bad.
I also wanted to talk about the Porsche that we've been working on all week. So what's been going on with that? What is it? For people that might not know what it is, and
Yeah, we've been chipping away at that one. Now it's a miles worked 996 wide body kit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one's been a lot of fun, and we're just wrapping it up now.
And then Rob has been working on the exhaust, making a full custom exhaust for it.
Yeah, it was one of the things that was on the table that needed to be finished before finalizing the whole car. So yeah, we built an exhaust system from scratch for it. Yeah,
Turned out amazing.
using beautiful
Sounds amazing.
product.
It looks so good.
You know, you want to, if you're fabricating an exhaust system, you use quality parts. Like, you know, we used a lot of Stainless Brothers Tycon product for that. Even a little bit of Vibrant.
See,
there's like really good products in the build of it, and it makes it enjoyable. And you know, when you're using product like that, you put a little bit of extra effort into it. You make it really, really nice. You'd be proud of it at the end of the day.
But if you're one of those guys that's trying to emulate these crazy stainless exhaust systems with the beautiful welds, the easiest hack to the whole thing is to use quality stainless products.
Yeah.
You go buy some of this white box stuff because you think you're saving money and you think it's all the same. You will never achieve the quality of welds that you're looking for.
That's true. I mean, it's the unsung thing that nobody really talks about.
They assume it's all the same,
The
and it's not the
metallurgy of
same.
your products have a direct impact on how it looks. I mean, we know that because we got hands-on all the time. It's just it's a thing.
And now we won't even entertain it
Yeah.
because you can't. No matter how hard you try, it'll look like shit. It's just dirty metal.
Yeah.
So buy quality stainless if you want quality results.
Awesome.
right.
And it sounds amazing too.
It does.
It's
Sound
nasty.
amazing.
Gosh,
It's nasty.
You guys just went for like a little, like just to
Flyby.
test it, flyby, and oh, my ears were ringing to the music of that.
I'm going to say it's probably the
exhaust.
nicest sounding 996 on the planet.
Yes, it is.
That's
sounds so
quite
good.
a testament. That's pretty serious.
So,
I love it. It's nasty. So Elvis, please insert a video clip or an audio clip at least.
Okay.
That was not a good representation of what it sounded like.
Maybe I'll put an insert of the actual clip. We'll see what happens. But we're going to dive into the topic of today, which is, why does respect all builds only apply to cars?
I don't know. Why does it?
I don't know. Like, that's what we're talking about because, like we mentioned earlier, we did a previous podcast, and we've done a lot of talking in the past about what exactly is a build and how a build does not necessarily mean you're doing only an exhaust and that's a build, or like a wrap
What was the checklist
and
that you
tint
said?
and that's a build.
It's
man.
super popular.
Yeah, it's really, really popular.
Yeah.
wheels, exhaust, and wing
Yeah.
does not constitute a build.
We talked about this subject matter
But I'm not sure
so
what part
long
of
ago
it.
now, and it's still going.
Yeah, it's still
It's
going.
still
Now
going.
It's become
I think you're a meme now.
I am.
Yeah,
You're
literally.
a meme.
I see at least we get tagged in a comment or some,
funny.
not a comment, a post about someone reusing the audio from that.
But it's
video.
funny because some people are doing it and they actually have that set up.
Yeah.
Like there's
yeah.
been a couple where it's like T37's a Mugen wing and it's perfect. So that's
Yeah.
fun. Like it's,
Yeah.
you know, it might have hurt a few people's feelings, but for the most part, I think people are, you know.
Yes.
It makes me laugh. You showed me that video not long ago, and I was just like, "That's fucking perfect."
Yeah. So it's according to
I think the guy put, I feel attacked.
That's so good. I love
yeah,
it.
and Tim says it's a gift that keeps on giving. So
It just keeps going that way.
yeah, it just keeps going. And so, why does respect all builds? Because, like I mentioned earlier, just reiterating, in 2023, which is the year we're in now, in the 20th century, you have to respect everything that someone is doing, regardless of, and they don't like plastic cars, because regardless of how crappy it is, or if they do not good stuff in general, like you have to respect it. You don't have an option.
Yeah, I can't figure it out because that's my counter argument in the comments all the time. I was like, okay, it's cool that you say that, and I don't see where you're coming from because it doesn't apply to anything else. It's
Yeah.
like if you got some janky plumber in your house, you wouldn't be like, okay, man, I appreciate you putting in your best effort. Nothing works, but you know, you tried.
It kind of looks like it might
It looks
work.
like it's supposed to work.
When I use it,
I mean-
I'm water spraying out over here, and I don't understand.
Or you,
But thank you.
or my example is you are looking for a surgeon, and you go to Facebook Marketplace, and it's like cheapest surgeons available.
Yeah, you're not going to do that. Like it's,
You're gonna go and you're gonna see, okay, this person is gonna be like, okay, experience I have is watching YouTube videos of surgeries, and I'm gonna be really good
got
at this.
this,
Trust
man.
me. Trust me, bro.
yeah, trust me. But the argument is that it's relatable.
Yeah.
So how does it? I don't get it. It's
Yeah.
so confusing because it literally does not apply to even the simplest things.
Yeah.
Like you can't even go to McDonald's. If you came out and your hamburger patty was on top of the bun, you'd be like, well, you gave it your best effort. I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
No.
No. And then with the doctor, kidney swap. He like swaps your kidney or like throws it with, I don't know, swaps it with something like a limb from like a chicken or something.
Yeah. So I mean, you have opposite ends of a spectrum, and it still doesn't apply,
No, it does not apply.
but it does to your car.
Yeah.
I think if people were more honest about it, like some people just aren't good at it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's things that I am not good at. I don't do them, and I don't try to do them for other people.
Yes, I feel like with I've learned that in the past few years of working here, and because I used to try to do everything myself. I mean, and of course it was subpar quality, but at the same time it wasn't great. Like the typical example that I always use is my Datsun, because that was like my test bed. You watch a YouTube video of how something should be done, or how something. First of all, they make it look so easy, and second of all, they do it so fast, and you're like, oh, they took them only 5 minutes, and it takes you like
Yeah, but
8 days.
the reality of that situation is you've developed an appreciation for somebody else's abilities, whereas these people don't. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just think that's fine. Like, oh, it's fine now.
Yeah.
They're like, well, it's not really fine. And then you've put an effort in to try to get better at it and recognize that you're not good at it, but you didn't just stop there and be like, it's good enough. Now you probably reflect and like, oh, man, I could do that so much better now.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's how the evolution continues, and that's how you end up with these crazy cars that get dismissed.
yeah.
It's like, where did these people like the mentality that these people just like appear out of nowhere and they're just ultimately talented and have all the money is not the case. It's taken us 20 years to get to the point where now we get to play with these crazy things and we're making things and developing things. It's like it didn't happen overnight. If you took 20-year-old me and plunked me here right now, I'd be cooked.
Yeah, you
It's
wouldn't know what to.
I wouldn't even know what to do
With all of this insane equipment that we have.
you wouldn't know what to do. Like, you probably wouldn't even know how to turn the lights on. Like, you'd just be so overwhelmed. And I think that's like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Tim is getting fired up.
it's just so crazy because there's just absolutely no respect for the build. But in every other industry, like, go back to your doctor example. If you have a doctor that's like achieved all these things and all these different and becomes a specialist in what he does, he gets all the respect in the world.
Oh, yeah.
But we don't. It's like, I am a specialist in what I do.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just a rich asshole. And it's literally the opposite. I'm probably a broke asshole. Which is like, honestly, but we have the ability to do certain things, and I shouldn't have to, because I've spent all this time developing these fucking tools and developing these abilities, not get any. Why don't I deserve respect for that?
Yeah. It's kind of like
You just automatically get discounted. Sorry to cut you off.
no.
but,
You keep going.
No, it's just you do. You just automatically, from the outside looking in, if you look at, the things that we make, and they look shiny, they look expensive. Well, I mean, if you develop your skills and you invest enough sweat equity in it, you can have the same thing, but it doesn't come cheap.
It doesn't apply to this, though. Whereas if you're a doctor and you become a specialist and you have a Ferrari and a big house, it seems obvious.
It's expected. You're like,
it's
oh,
expected.
yeah.
It's obvious.
Yeah.
Like, you should reap the benefits of your time and effort, but because you didn't go to some sort of collegiate university, like, you didn't go through all these steps, you don't deserve to find any kind of success in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Weird.
And then another point too is the people that are like, oh yeah, I can do it cheaper, or I can do it better.
Of course you can.
Because
you can do
it's
anything cheaper.
Yeah. Like talking to your point, people don't. Whenever you tell someone, okay, this part costs blah 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 X amount of money, but then it's gonna cost me double what you paid for it to even install it. Even like people discount, I feel like, that part, and it's like, oh yeah, I could do it myself. And people discount the amount of time, for example, that it might have taken you to learn how to do this, or the amount of years of fabrication and failure and all of these things that you've had to overcome to get where you are. And so I feel like that's also where this whole thing stems from too. So I don't know. Yeah, that's one.
I agree.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
We have we're helping out a guy right now. His part is $3,000. So would you be confident enough to take this $3,000 part that you could potentially destroy if you didn't have a certain amount of experience behind you? And I think that's how a lot of this stuff, I'm gonna do it myself.
Yep.
Because you're, I don't know, delusional, or you got an ego, or you believe you can. And then I can drive to work right now on any given day and see at least a dozen cars tore apart.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All
At
the
least.
time.
Like, you see the hood's partially cracked and you're like, somebody took something out of that and didn't put it back in.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Respect all builds. For example, a guy does a job or like he makes control arms out of like what's it called, square tubing for his car, for example.
Why should I respect that?
Yeah. Use this terrible like welds that don't even barely hold together.
Wrong materials.
Yeah.
Wrong welds.
Yeah.
Clearly no effort into educating himself as to what the minimum requirement for that would be. Why do I need to respect that?
Yeah. And then this same guy, for example, goes and drives on the highway and the car falls apart, or he hits a family or something. And
But only because it only affects him.
Yeah.
Then it's fine. But if luckily, you don't hear a lot of instances where people are wiping out families. Then it would become a problem.
Yeah.
But like, you get some guy build a deck on the back of your house out of popsicle sticks, and you head out there and your whole family falls and ends up in the hospital. You wouldn't respect that. You would not. You'd look and be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
It's so weird. I don't know why it applies to that.
Yeah. It is interesting.
But because you did it yourself and it's on a car, it's perfectly fine.
And just to be clear, we're not saying
least I'm trying.
We're not saying don't do things yourself. We're not saying always give it to
do
someone.
things yourself, but you should at least
know
put some
the
effort
right
into
way.
it.
Yeah, and also know the right way to do these things. Even if it's your first time doing it, at least do the proper research or ask people that might know more than you. I feel like that's like a good middle ground to be at.
100%.
Yeah, because I don't know everything. I don't know anything.
If you came to me and asked me if you could make control arms out of electrical conduit, I would tell you immediately, no. Yes, it looks like DOM tubing, but it is not the same.
Yeah.
But you see a ton of dangerous shit, and they almost do it because it is dangerous.
Yeah.
So like you have to add that part of it in. But it's always like, I would rather support a guy in his garage and is relatable. It's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, that's
100%.
awesome.
We all started in the garage. I made some janky shit back in the day too, and I learned immediately that it was janky, and then I tried to figure out how to do it better. There was a lot of things that I didn't even get finished because I can't weld good enough to do this. I got to go revisit my abilities and then come back and try this again.
Yes.
But I don't. Some people are like, just send it.
And some of these people, like we see on YouTube, they keep doing the same thing over and over
not
and
getting
over
any
again,
better.
and not getting any better. I know we've talked about a certain person that I've been trying to cut out of our videos for so long.
He's not even the worst one.
No,
like he is
not.
literally not the worst one.
No, he's not. Like you should be at least trying to progress in your ability. Yeah, you know, if you're just building static art pieces, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, go wild.
Go do whatever you want. Build it out of whatever you want, as long as you know it's never gonna turn a wheel on the streets and potentially be a liability. I mean, I don't think enough people out there in the world put enough conscious thought into the reality that these are multiple 1,000 pounds
Missiles
of like, you know, potentially harm inducing fucking weapons, essentially.
Yeah.
I've actually been
was-
hit up by like a couple of people in the past for GoFundMe's for different shit because people have crashed and wrecked their cars, and then you see the car and it's like,
That's kind of why
that's
this
kind
happened.
of why it happened, and now you want my support to. No, you did that to yourself.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah.
need to suffer the consequences of your actions.
Dang, that's harsh.
It's true though.
Yeah.
Dude, we struggle with it every single day because it's like like you have like different classes of people. So we're held to a super high standard, and then you got these people that are over here that discount everything, and everything we do is too expensive. It's too expensive. I do it myself. But then you have an entire sort of group of people that don't like custom cars because they're unreliable. They're this, and that's mostly because the representation of custom cars is by people that haven't put enough time and effort in to learn how to do what they're doing properly.
Yeah,
So then
these
they're
are-
broken down all the time.
Yep.
So it's not good. Like the representation is not good.
Yeah.
But now you get a handful of people that have stepped into the game that are making these amazing cars that are reliable, that you can use and enjoy. So luckily it's transitioning. But at the same time, those guys still dismiss those cars. Like, oh, it's just another one of these, just another
Yeah.
rich guy. You're like, well, rich guy's out enjoying his life while you're,
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, there's a clear distinction between the sort of the different sort of classifications. Like you got people that got participation ribbons in school and fucking think that they can do whatever they want and it's going to be fine.
And we have to all accept
you know?
it. Like,
yeah, and
no, it's
we're just forced to accept the fact. Like, no, I don't respect that.
Yeah.
You know, if everything that we do in life should be based on meritocracy. Everything that we do should be based on how well you can do it. That will be your standing of respect. You want me to respect you? Do something great.
the garage builders that these guys are keep referring to are trying to do something great. And once given opportunity with more money, more time, better tools, they're going to keep progressing and getting great. And they're going to leave that behind.
Yeah.
And the only reason you do respect them is because they're trying to do something great with very little.
Yeah.
Whereas these other people, they're just not. There's just, I don't get it. If you legitimately do try and you're in your garage and you're trying to emulate these things, I think that's where the respect for the crazy stuff that we see comes from. Because when I go to SEMA, like, we're not by far not the best.
No.
No.
Like, I mean, we
No.
do our best, but we are not the best by any means. And then you go look at some of these things, and like, to me, I'm just standing there like, oh my God, like the amount of hours and the attention to detail and the just recognizing even the subtlest little thing that nobody else would, but I'll stand there and just like, huh. Like, holy. And then it makes sense because I've tried to do each and every one of those things. So the amount of respect I have for the finished product, that somebody's been able to take these thousands of pieces and put them into one place and create something, is where it comes from. So no, I don't respect all builds. I respect those builds, and I respect some builds based on time, money, and energy. But most of this stuff, it's disposable. It's literally like the fast food of the automotive industry. Just junk. And as soon as you experience it, you need to go take a shit.
Yeah. So I think. Dang.
Wow. Oh my God.
It's good for 3 minutes and then just have it.
Wow.
Yeah. I feel like respect is earned through attempt and effort spent. Like, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You do not have to spend a lot of money to create something awesome. What you end up spending more than money, especially when you're learning, is your sweat. Like, you end up putting more sweat into it to try to achieve it. I mean, and you can create unbelievably magical things with the effort that you spent, and that's where the respect from all tiers of builders will come in. Like, a top tier builder will respect somebody that's on the come up by the effort that they've put into it, and it's clearly you can see it. But when you see something where you're like, there's minimal effort over here, like this person right here, they got their backs pat, their entire life, and they just put zero effort into it. I don't respect that. Nobody's going to respect that. And those are the people that probably have a circle of friends that tell them that they're great all the time. And unfortunately, they're just not.
Yeah. Speaking of, actually, that's a very good point that I want to kind of touch on some more, because I was looking at a video yesterday, or like a series of videos on, what's his name? I forgot his first name, but I know his last name is Hefner. He built a Porsche 912. He works with Rod Emery, and he built a Porsche 912. Like, the amount of work that guy put in, he's like 20 something, like early 20s, but the amount of work that guy put into it, literally, when we're talking of like sweat equity and like using your hands to do all of that. Like, he literally started with nothing. A shell of a car that had been fiberglass wide bodied over. So you have to cut everything out, redo everything from scratch, and imitate what a 356 was like. So like, kind of used the Porsche 912, extended the wheelbase a little bit, did a lot of custom work, and made it kind of look, emulate some parts of the 356, like the beehive tail lights and some parts on the 356A. Moved to get like so much work, eliminated like the not drip rails, but what to call those things, like rain gutters, like a bunch of little things. But it's all metal. He did it with his bare hands, literally just a hammer and not a tree stump, but I just admire that he employed the help of the people, the resources.
See, the amount of effort that he put into it and enthusiasm was his currency to pay for the help of somebody like Rod Emery to give him direction through the whole project. Because we do it, like, if you're elbow deep into something, like, I want to help, like, what do you got going on? I'll give you direction, I'll give you help. And then it's like, that's how an apprenticeship works. It's like, I got to apprentice with an amazing fabricator because he saw me trying to do as best I could. And then there you go, off you go. So like, that's an invaluable education.
It is.
Whereas like, that kid obviously proved himself in the shop and then was given an education that allowed him to do that. But most people don't want to do it.
Yeah, and it probably all stems right down to that kid's attitude right from the get-go. Like, he didn't probably have an ego. He probably, he's like, yo, I'm super grateful, and can you please fucking tell me how to do this, and maybe show me the way a little tiny bit, and then then put like real effort into it.
But it only takes a single instance where it's like, hey, I want to cut the drip rails off. If you came to me and asked me like, hey, I want to cut the drip rails off this car, I'd be like, yeah, man, it's not hard to cut them off, but to weld all that back up. And then if you just did that one thing, the next time you asked me to do something crazy, I'd be like, okay, yeah, you put the 30, 40, 50 hours into doing that.
Yeah.
100% I'll tell you how to do this.
Yeah.
So it's like this progression, but there's proof along the way that you'd be like, okay, this is worth investing some time and energy into.
Yeah.
But if you just whack it off and never finish it, like, you're out of here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's just it. Like the effort and follow through, you know, on those things is the currency in it.
It is the
right.
currency.
It really is. I mean, that's a good way of putting it.
You can't possibly, like, this goes back to the Honda Lamborghini thing. Like, you can't possibly believe it unless you entertain this in every aspect of your life. You know, like some people are like, yeah, I want to give this guy a try. But you're probably not going to do it in things in your life that matter. You know, like you can give a kid a shot mowing your lawn, but if some kid comes like, hey, I'll do the roof on your house for $800, you're like, no, I'm sorry, I cannot, you know, like it's a weird thing that only applies to cars. And I think it's because of you can get into cars for a pretty low purchase price.
Yeah.
And the fact that you are attempting to do it yourself is, it doesn't like, it's like elementary school. It's like, okay, you tried, but this is how you actually do it.
Yeah.
And then you have to embrace that. You can't just be like, no, I only want to do it this way, and you have to respect me. Like, no, I do not. This is the proper way to do it. And once you achieve that, then you can move on to the next step.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't respect all builds.
Yeah. Because it's similar to, like you said, elementary. I feel like it is just a progression of the day or the era that we're in, of where, regardless of the person, you have to respect their opinions on certain things and topics. And it's a whole
It's like participation,
now.
Participation trophies.
Not just about cars, but like everything, like opinions,
like just
politics,
because you try
like everything.
doesn't mean, you know.
Yeah.
Trying is not enough. Like accomplishing is where you have to accomplish your goals.
Yeah.
You don't get to just try because you can't go to work and just try and then be like, hey, well, I give them my best effort.
Nope.
Well, you're not good at this, so we're going to have to let you go and replace you with somebody that can do the job. And that's reality. And that's why everything is so mangled.
Yep. Like, it's a whole thing that we could dive into.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic because, like, sadly, our reality sometimes is there's companies out there that do entertain that.
Yeah, and I mean,
and like they're kind of forced to, but
even in the day to day, like the amount of people that apply here, like, okay, like if your dream is to build custom cars, or why is it that only in the automotive industry, say, okay, I'll give you an example of how people approach this. But if you wanted to be a doctor, you wanted to be a lawyer, or you want to be a dentist, these are very obvious white collar jobs, but let's pick anything, like literally anything. Say you want to get into HVAC. Would you call the owner of the HVAC company and say, hey, bro, I love HVAC, man. It's like, it's my passion. I want to work for you.
No.
You would not do that. But in the automotive industry, where we're building people's, you know, dreams, I guess, is like the cliche. But I get approached like that, like, bro, I love your guys' shit. I want to work for you. And it's like, I got this problem in my life, and I want to build an 800 horsepower Audi. So? Like, you don't apply at Microsoft because you want to build yourself a crazy gaming computer. Like, it doesn't apply. Like, you're applying for an end result for yourself personally without wanting to do any of the work in between. And it's like, it's just mind-blowing. Like, it's so crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I get it. You guys need to get your shit together.
Yeah, because even, I mean, you guys probably have a better say about this, but still speaking of like applying here, some people that have come to apply at the shop and they might say, oh, they know how to, or they're interested in learning or how to do something. But whenever, like, either maybe whenever you tell them how to do it, like it doesn't go well, or they try to do it, but they can't put in the effort or something, but yeah, it just never ends up working out.
It never works. Like those guys, and we've had people come in through other channels. You're like, okay, we'll give them a try. But they don't, like, if you truly have the passion that you claim that you have, you should be willing to do whatever you need to do get from A to B. And you came to me because you see what I do and you have an appreciation and a passion and all this stuff, yet you don't want to do what I tell you to do. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't go to anybody's shop. They're like, man, you're the best. I love your shit. You're so awesome. I love everything you guys to do. And then it's like, okay, well, this is how we have to do it. Nah, dude, you know how long that's going to take? Yeah, I do. Why do you think these things are so special?
Bro, I don't want to do that, bro.
Why do you think people covet these things and they become something so special? Is because of the time and the effort, the expense. But no, like, it's like, no, I don't want to.
Can we just do it a different way, man?
Yeah,
like,
there's got to be a faster way.
Yeah.
Like, no, there is no faster way. Like, it's so crazy. And then they literally get, like, mentally just crushed. And then they fade away. How many people have just faded away?
Yeah.
There's time, like, I've had people I didn't even have to fire. Like, man, I got to get rid of this guy. And then they just, like, just gone. You're like, oh, well, that sorted itself out. And then the next time you see them, it's like they're doing, like, something completely different. Dude, I hung around and harassed my mentor for years. Like, I would drive by a shop. Oh, he's there. You know, I went. I would sweep the floor, talk his face off.
Just hang around there.
Dude, and then, like, finally he's like, hey, man, if you're going to be here, you want to grab a broom or something, pick up the end, clean the... Like, yep, no problem. Swept the floor for literally years.
Wow.
I was useless. I had to apologize to this guy once I found a certain amount of success. And, like, thank you for not kicking me out of your shop. Like, I was there sucking up your time all the time. And... now here we are.
Wow.
And because of him. Because he gave me his time, and, you know.
And not just that, you were willing to learn. You were willing to put in the amount of time to get better at everything that you did.
Yeah, if you appreciate their enthusiasm, and if they're willing to put in the work, of course you're going to support them. But they don't want to put in work. These kids suck.
Yeah. I think there's a huge disconnect in our little world here.
Yeah, it's wild.
Just how much effort it actually takes to create the things that we do, and I don't think a lot of people really understand that.
It's hard.
Like, we talk about it, we joke about it often because we've been doing it long enough. Like, it's like 90% suck, you know.
10% awesome.
Yeah, it is very much like that. Like, there's so much stuff that, you know, you capture on film or on video that, like, most of it gets chopped out because it's mostly suck.
Literally, I was going through that.
Suck.
Yeah, like today, I was I'm trying to, like, finish making another episode of the G-Wagon build and all of that stuff. And there's so much that I'm like, nope, I can't use that because I'm like, initially I'm like, oh yeah, that is pretty sick, but I'm like, I don't know who's gonna, like,
but
watch
you're
this
adapting to that mentality because you're like, this isn't interesting, but that's the nuts and bolts of what it takes to get the interesting part.
But to me, it's interesting. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I want to see how this is done and all of that. But again, like, it's the same thing with, like, the social media whole thing. It's no one.
So we're
people
guilty
are not
of it
really.
too.
People are not really I have to recalibrate my mind almost. And, like, people don't want to see just constant hours of hammering on something just to make it work. Like, it's like instant ramen. Like, you want it immediately. You want it now. And you don't want to see the end product. Sometimes I also have to be like, I don't care. I'm going to put this in. And so it's regardless of how much time it takes or regardless of what it's going to look like on video. But it's just, there's little, even from watching this G-Wagon build, from taking it down to the frame and watching you guys sweat and cut things off and bleed, and there's, like, things flying everywhere, and it was so much terribleness before you got to the good stuff. Some people are not willing to take it the whole way.
Well, I think because they can't, you have to see the 10%. Like, if you can see the 10% before you start the 90% of suck, it makes it a lot easier.
Well, it drives you forward
because it's like, I just got to get through these parts and then we get this part.
Yep.
But if you can't see that part, then it's probably not for you. Like, you know what I mean? It's like that entire fast food. Like, an example, my son, become a chef. The best part of the whole thing is me watching him cook. Like, I'm fascinated by it because I'm not good at it and it's not my thing. So it's like, watching that is amazing. But if you just want to eat, you can go to McDonald's.
Yeah,
And
that's a
YouTube
good
is
point.
literally McDonald's.
Yeah.
So unless you have appreciation for the process, you're probably not going to enjoy our videos.
Yeah.
'Cause it's a
and,
lot
we,
of
and we try to
process.
put a lot of that in there.
Oh
just for
yeah,
that.
yeah. As opposed to just the glamour shots of the final thing. In summary, Tim doesn't respect Obu.
Neither does Rob.
Neither does Rob.
And I don't think Elvis does either.
No,
but he's
I am-
probably gonna be a
I
little
know.
bit wishy-washy.
Yeah, I know. I am-
Be in the middle.
Yes,
He doesn't like to hurt feelings.
I know. I'm a people pleaser, so I'm really bad at like being like, no, I hate all built. Nah, but
I appreciate
do
the
agree.
effort,
Yeah, I
but-
do agree. Yeah, I do. Yeah,
There is some things that just I mean, like to go back to your control arm thing, like you should put a certain amount of research in to metallurgy, what this thing actually needs to do before you try to build it.
yeah,
And that's it. Like that's the part that I don't respect is like just because you made something that looks like a control arm doesn't mean it's a control arm.
no,
And that's where I have a lack of respect. Is not putting the time and effort into the education part of it before the execution part.
yeah,
Don't
Yeah.
execute and then educate yourself by wiping your car out and flipping upside down and then asking me for money to fix it. It's not
Yeah, I don't
happening.
think that you've accomplished something just because it looks like it. If it doesn't actually look and perform the part, then it's not the part.
yeah.
That's right.
Sweet. And I feel like people are slowly starting. It's still the majority are still saying respect all builds, but I feel like there's still people. I feel like I've seen a lot of Instagram like memes of just that exactly. Of it's like you go to a parking lot these days at a car show, and they're like, "Oh, there's builds." Like, where are the builds? Like, it's just stock cars for the most part.
Yeah.
Or cars that haven't done things right, and it's just jank and sketch. So yeah.
But I would say the other, because we just spent a whole hour talking shit, there is some people that have embraced like technologies and young kids that are making amazing shit.
Oh yeah.
Like amazing stuff. And they're trying. And they're making really cool stuff that like I'll look at it like, man, if this kid keeps going, it's going to be crazy. Like I got sent something yesterday. I think you saw it.
Which one?
This guy's designing a body kit with VR goggles and a 3D
yeah.
scanner.
Yeah, I
and
saw that.
it's
That was
so
pretty cool.
crazy.
That was pretty cool, and it made it look so easy.
Made it look so easy. This guy had a carbon part in like 2 weeks. But it's
Wow.
like he's designing on the car, VR goggles, 3D scanning the car, creating, designing, making molds, all this type of stuff. And this kid looked like he's 25.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit.
Pretty
Like,
cool.
He fully embraced everything and went deep, super deep. Like, that's amazing to me. Like, completely amazing.
Yeah.
So it's not, they're out there doing it. That's another one of my, like, why is not this kid not getting the attention that he deserves? Why? Because right away he's embraced technology that costs a certain amount of money, and it's like, oh, just another
Gets
rich
dismissed.
asshole.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not the case. You don't know. Maybe this kid picked pop bottles for 6 months to buy this scanner. Like, you don't know his story. Maybe he is rich. Who cares? At least he's using his time and effort to create something awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. The money thing is secondary to the topic that matters most is the effort spent.
Yes.
Like this person put effort into it in the avenue that they chose to put it, and the result speaks.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It doesn't matter how much money you got.
No.
If like Tim was saying, like, 20 years ago, if you said, hey, here's fucking $1 million and like, all the tools that you need to build it. If you didn't know how to use any of that stuff, if you didn't, understand the effort
Yeah,
required, it doesn't matter.
If
No.
you put me in
The
an
money
operating
doesn't
room,
matter.
I wouldn't know what to
not
do.
have any clue.
Exactly.
I'd be
It's
like, oh,
literally
do I cut
exactly
here?
the same situation. You could take me to the hospital, put me in an operating room, and they're like, here you go. You have everything you need. I'd be, someone's going to die today.
And it's also
not going to be me.
here's a specialist who's going to stand here and just like chill and hang out while you do your thing. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, there would be someone would be getting rolled out on a
Cut
slab.
here.
Yeah, cut here. Cut from here to here. All right. Okay.
Okay.
Which
Sure.
So you do.
Blood everywhere.
You do, and it's
a dead
and then
person.
It's not a
not
good
apply.
thing. No. You do not have to respect that.
Okay, make this awesome, Elvis.
Yes, I'll figure out a way to cut
Good
this
luck,
thing to
fella.
make sense. I know we've been all over the place today, but
Hey.
it's fine. It'll be fine. So, with that said, actually, before we ended, I wanted to start like a little, not like tradition, but yeah. I just wanted to read. There are still good comments as opposed to, we talk a lot of stuff, but people still seem to appreciate
They do.
the comments. And so
We're
this
gonna
week,
cruise the comments.
Here's the comments.
yeah.
Here we go.
So yesterday I actually was like, I was like reading the comments. I was like, wow, this actually made me feel.
But I didn't think
Good.
that particular podcast was going to generate this type of appreciation. And it wasn't just one. There's
quite a few. So this guy said, I never knew. His name is Vehemence, but he said, I never knew I was such a mechanic enthusiast. As someone who runs a small custom shop, I wanted to thank you guys for making these podcasts. It's been my favorite thing to listen to working in the shop. You guys bring so much knowledge and experience.
Whoa.
I know. Your no bullshit approach is what the car community needs in this oversaturated made
Cheers
for
to that.
content world. Yes. Much appreciated and keep it up. It's very inspirational. So that was one comment. There's like a few others. So if you
pretty
want,
cool.
if you want to check it out, you can read the comments on our Modified with TrickFactory Customs
Yeah, I
YouTube
like that.
channel.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that's kind of
Why
what
we do it.
that's what we shoot for. Like,
Yeah.
just cut the bullshit. There's
So-
too much of it out there. So
Yeah, so I was just
Thank-
I looked
thank
at a
you
few
for your
comments. I was like,
support.
wow, I need to share this with social media, and so it was pretty glorious. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you like this video / podcast, give it a thumbs up. Give it 5 stars wherever you watch your podcasts, and we will see you guys next week. If you have any topics as well, any suggested topics. A guy suggested, one of the comments last week, he suggested like motorcycles. We talk about custom motorcycles. We have a few over here.
have a few.
So, so I thought we are going to talk about maybe that next time, of like, I guess what happened to custom motorcycle or custom motorcycle industry, or compare custom motorcycles to cars.
Yeah, we got some things to talk
all of that
about on
stuff.
that.
I feel like there's quite a, so maybe we could talk about that next time. So thank you. I'm trying to look for his name. Cruz or Bruce, apparently.
Oh yeah. Nice.
So yeah, he talked about that. So with that said, if you have any interesting comments or anything, leave them in the comment section below. Email us at media@trickfactory.com, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.